I desired to see what was going on over there. I looked over here. I was fascinated. I wanted to pursue that more and see what was going on. And his desire seems to move him. His will seems to be done in a way that's not an ordinary part of human experience. We're used to being frustrated and thwarted, but it's a kind of union with God, but not a nirvana, not a loss of self, an increased sense of self, and a sense of power and ability to contribute to life that comes out of this melding of the two worlds into one.
The integration.
Yeah, the integration. And he speaks at one point about 5 stages in this integration. I probably will not get them entirely correct, but I think that some early ones sounded like meditative awareness of the other world. Hypnagogic state. They didn't have that term back then, but he talks about when you first wake up or just as you're drifting off to sleep, being able to hear things or see things that are not part of your ordinary reality. And being in a full state of wakefulness, I think is sort of meditative. Okay, so it's in the afternoon and you're awake, but you're able to perceive something that's part of non-ordinary reality. And the fourth state is when you're aware of non-ordinary reality and aware of this reality, and they're overlapping, but the distinction is clear, he says. You're not confused about what you're seeing. You are aware of the fact that this is a flesh and blood human being, that is an angelic being, and you're aware of the distinction. And then there's a fifth point, which was quite gradual for him, I think, in which the two become one. And there's really a unity of experience. In a sense, the universe collapses and all is present. Heaven and earth, everything's all one. And it was quite gradual for him, I think, to get there.
I find it quite intriguing. I've studied a number of Western-style teachers that teach human evolution toward, I think, the completely human. And it's interesting how those numbers and how those phases so closely parallel some of the other systems that I've studied. That they talk about exactly the same levels of transformation and the same levels of difficulty as they go along. So other people who have attempted this from the Western perspective, I don't know if they had done it as in depth as Swedenborg, and I frankly don't know if Swedenborg had done it as in depth as they have, but he certainly left a lot more information behind.
Yes, he did, and I think that he would say, as others have, that there's really one reality behind it all. He didn't go someplace that other people haven't gone or don't go, and in a certain way it becomes a semantic question of how you describe it or what cognitive vessels you put that into in order to understand it or explain it. But I don't think he saw himself as going outside of something that's widely accessible. I think he was aware of the Laplander shamans who were just north of him in Sweden, who had quite a different vocabulary for what they did, but they accessed the same reality that he accessed.
There's a line from the work of Carl Jung, and he talks about what happens when you penetrate the first veil, basically, when you penetrate the veil of egotism, when you start to move toward integration.
Outside that, yeah.
And he talks about this place that you're heading as being the realm where golden apples fall from trees. But he says that if you want to survive in this realm, that you have to be the genius philosopher. This is the realm of the genius philosopher. Otherwise, the realm will consume you.
It brings several interesting things to mind. One is that Swedenborg describes the gardens and parks in the spiritual world as having golden and silver fruit and leaves and things like this. They're hard for us to understand because they're not part of our normal experience. It also brings to mind something else I've forgotten right now.
Number of interesting parallels. But
Yeah.
this is if we're talking about this man as a role model, then this is what we should be striving for this in our life. We should be moving along in this way. So the point here apparently is very definitely not to provide the person pursuing this path with an absolute sense of security.
Yeah.